Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me how I render hair. So today I'm here with a rendering tutorial because I've noticed a lot of people on my TikTok and my Instagram asking me how I render hair. So I'm here today with a step-by-step tutorial. This is my first time using my voice on that, so I'm a little nervous, but I'll try my best to explain, even though my English is not that good and I'm really bad at tutorials, but I will try my best just for you guys, and I will show you steps on how I personally color hair. Once you have picked the color you want your hair to be, just color the whole thing. Once you do that, you need to now decide where you want your light source to come from. In my case, I'm going to make the light source come from a higher point, so my shadows will be at the lower points. I don't have much tips on placing shadows, but I just pick a darker color of the base color and I go and I add it where I think the shadows would be. I just make these scratchy lines. That's what makes my art style, honestly. Lots of scratchy lines. I take an even darker color after that, and I kind of pinpoint where I think the darkest parts of the hair will be, and I'll go and I'll place that color all over. Once you're satisfied with all your shadows, take a lighter but a bit more saturated color than the base color and make these strands at the top of the hair. This will make it look like the hair is a little more brighter. Then you can take an even darker color of it and make little shadows. These won't be the big shadows we did earlier. They will be a little lighter than them to add this gradient of shadows. What I just said makes no sense, but it makes sense in my head. And like I said, I'm really bad at explaining, so just follow what I do. I think that will just be easier. Step 2 is to now we're gonna add the lighting. For the lighting, pick a really saturated color of the base color. It can even be in a different value. Like as you can see, my base color is more of a bluish green, but the lighting is more of a yellowy green. I select different values because it makes the drawing look more alive and more realistic. Again, I have no tips for placing the lighting. Honestly, I just put lighting where I think it goes, and then I'll even make these strands popping out of the hair to make it look like those strands are directly being hit by the light. At this point in my rendering process, all I'm really doing is I'm just fixing up some of the mistakes in the art, and I also just add a little more color into it. This step is honestly kinda, I wouldn't say optional, but you can skip it and it'll just look fine. But I'm just making this slow transition of shadows to light, and I'm also adding more of the shadows in places where I think it would go. I actually have no idea how to describe this step, so I think following along what I'm doing on the screen would be a lot easier than listening to me. Now for the last part in the lighting, pick this really light color, almost close to white, and add these little specks or like these scratchy lines by the places you've put the other lighting. So I just fill the skin color in this step. What artists usually do is they airbrush the skin color onto the parts that's touching the skin, but I don't like using airbrush. Instead, I manually pick a color that sort of looks like the skin color, and I just go and I add it to the parts that are touching the skin. Genuinely, I have no idea how to explain this. If you aren't already using the color wheel, I suggest switching to the color wheel. And what you're gonna do in this step is you're gonna take the opposite of the color you're using for the hair. In this instance, I'm using the color green for the hair, so I would pick the opposite of green, which is purple. Now when selecting a purple color, select a desaturated or like a faded purple and not a pure bright purple. When adding this purple to the hair, add it where the shadows are the strongest. I'm gonna add this between hair strands and under the hair. This helps create the illusion of a bounce light. This part is optional, but you can use that purple color to make these small little hair strands just come out of the hair. I like to do this part because it makes it look like those pieces are further away from the actual hair. You can also make this purple color. Okay, why is it green? Whatever, it looks purple when you put it on green. But as I was saying, you can make this purple color even lighter and add it to even lighter shadows. This part is totally optional, but it's one of my favorite steps. So basically, I'm working on Procreate, so I will open the lasso tool and select those strands we made earlier. I'll go in a Gouache. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I will blur it. Not too much or not too little, just a little bit, because if you do too much, it's just gonna look a bit funny. And we are done. This is what I have in the end. All I did was just render the eyes and add like really small details. But if you followed along, you should have something similar. But I'm not sure if you guys understood this video. I was honestly just yapping. My English is like so bad, and I am still nervous because my voice is just really weird. But I hope you guys actually understood, even though my explanation was really bad. But I guess if you followed along what I was doing on the screen, then I guess you guys would have been fine. But if you like this video, then please leave a like down below and comment your favorite color. Or you can also comment your questions and I'll answer them. And don't forget to leave a like because I would really appreciate it. I spent lots of effort and time on this video. My CapCut right now is lagging so badly. But yeah, goodbye.